All right, I'll try to get this done before the sun catches up with me over here. Nikon 18 to 140. This is for the APS-C, the Z50 Mark II, for example, or the Z30, the original Z50, the ZFC. The reason I got this lens, I wanted to have something more of an all-in-one lens, sort of like the 18 to 2, not the 18 to 2, the 24 to 200 was on the full frame, which is probably the best super zoom I've ever used. That covers a really wide range, all the way from wide 24, which is what I want, up to 200, and have really nice bokeh, background blur, was sharp. I really didn't see hardly any compromises, and I think it was even weather sealed. This one, I believe they said it had some weather sealing, but if I look at the, the lens mount, can't really see it very well here, but I don't really see a rubber gasket there. So I'm thinking it's probably not truly weather sealed. But the size of it, it's not a collapsible lens. So I'm happy with the size and weight, really lightweight. But the reason I kind of got the Z50 was the Mark II was because, it has Z8, Z9 autofocus. But with this tiny 16 to 50 lens, which is really high quality optically, and this one is a collapsible lens. I'm assuming the 18 to 140 would be at least somewhat similar to the 16 to 50 as far as image quality, and the 24 to 200, again, it was a full frame lens. But I've kind of got mixed results. I don't know what it is about this lens. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I'm not thrilled with it. It's not meeting my expectations as far as what the other cheap Nikon Z mount lenses are, like the 50 to 250, which comes as a dual lens kit with the Z50. So the 16 to 50 and the 50 to 250. Both of those kit lenses, 16 to 50 and 50 to 250, really nice optically. And I was hoping this would be at least pretty close to that, because the 24 to 200 is. And but this, I don't know what it is about it. It's like the images are kind of real super contrasty, and maybe it's just I had to kind of adjust my editing for these. I mean, it seems sharp enough, and as far as that goes, it does have a little lens flare when you're shooting with the sun directly in the photo. Sun pointing right into the lens at some angle. Not too bad, but it's there, and it's kind of what I would expect from a lens at this price. But I was kind of hoping for more, and unfortunately, it's not. This is the only Z mount lens so far that I've not really been surprised with as far as surprisingly good quality. This one is kind of more, I would say, what you would expect from the old days in the F mount lenses. That's just kind of a basic super zoom all in one. And I wish it was a 16 to 140 or 16 to 120 or something like that. If you have to make a compromise on the long end, I'd rather have a little bit wider. So this is kind of more closer to like a 28 millimeter on the wide end, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Look it up. It's 28 or 18 times 1.5. But I mean, overall, it's not bad. I'm not going to say it's a bad lens, and it'll do the job for me, and it's good enough. But I would say it's not very inspiring. It does not come with a lens hood. I had to buy this lens hood from JJC. I really like the JJC lens hoods. This is just a basic kind of pedal lens hood, and it's a part number is LH-HB101. Really like the JJC products. They usually have really good quality lens hoods, especially if you like the one for the Olympus 75 millimeter f1.8 lens. It's like a metal lens hood, just like the Olympus hood, and it's super hot and sweaty out here, or humid, so I'm getting sweaty. Anyway, JGC lens hood, and it was only probably $15 or something like that, maybe less, I can't remember. But that's the other thing, it doesn't come with a lens hood. I don't know, it's for the price. I guess you could say it's worth it if that's what you really need for your APS-C Nikon Z mount body. But, you know, again, this one, I don't know, it's mediocre, I guess I would say. And it can be good, you know, obviously as long as you have a really good subject and nice lighting. I'm still going through my photos from a trip to, you know, like southwestern Kentucky, like a land between the lakes park area. So I've just got a bunch of photos, and they're all from this combo, the Z50 Mark II and the 18 to 140. I'm still working on that gallery. If you go to my Z50 Mark II gallery, or Z50 version 2, whatever you want to call it, Z50 2, there are photos from this lens in there, and they should be marked, or I'll try to mark them in the title of the photo. But just I don't know. I'm happy with some of the photos, but it's just, maybe it's just that it's so much different than the character of the other Z mount lenses. I don't know what it is about it, but like I said, it's just kind of like really super contrasty, and the bokeh background blur, you know, it's not as nice as it is on something like the 24 to 200. And I'm not talking about just like depth of field in the background blur. I'm talking about, you know, the character of the bokeh, the background blur. I don't know. You can tell I'm not really all that inspired by this lens, and I don't know if I would say I regret buying it. Maybe I do. It just depends on how much I use it. Maybe I won't really use it enough to justify it now because I'm not really super happy with it. And I still have the 16 to 50, which is kind of what I like to use for traveling if I take this camera for a work trip or something, because it's really super small. But if I put this on there, this is just more of like a regular vacation camera. You know, it's not small anymore. It's still pretty small, but it's not super small like it is with the 16 to 50, 16 to 50. And I've even got the a little lens hood, aftermarket lens hood on this, and of course the lens cap is on it. When you take that off, it's like super tiny when it collapses. And again, really excellent optically, and beautiful bokeh background blur on this if you're, you know, in a situation where you can get the background blur. You know, closer you are to the subject, for example, the more background blur you'll have, and the more telephoto of lens you use, you know, the longer focal length, the more background blur you'll get. So anyway, that's my impressions of the 18 to 140. And again, I'll put a link to the Z50 Mark II gallery down below in the description, and I'll pin a comment for that. And again, I'll try to get some more of the 18 to 140 photos in that gallery, but I've got like 3 other trips I still need to edit. My trip to Idaho, which I just got, where's the Idaho? Just got back from Idaho. And in a week I go to Colorado, and then that'll be it for a while for my trips. So I can maybe finally get all my photos edited and uploaded to the galleries. So there was a cruise that I'm still working on. That was with the G9 Mark II. I took photos of that with that lens and the 12 to 60 millimeter 2.8 to f4. That's that Panasonic Leica lens on the Panasonic G9 II. And by the way, I'm taking the G9 II with a Olympus 12 to 100 f4 lens. That's their pro lens, to the Colorado trip. Kind of reminiscing and having thoughts of my old GH5 with the Olympus 12 to 100. I had absolutely fantastic photos with that combo when I went to Yellowstone in 2017. Yellowstone and North Dakota, saw the Medora Musical in Medora, North Dakota. That's like right outside of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And then up into Glacier National Park. I'm just super happy with that GH5 and Olympus 12 to 100 combo. It's a great lens, very versatile, you know, 24 to 200 equivalent. So I was kind of surprised and happy when Nikon made that 24 to 200 for the full frame on theirs. And the only reason I didn't keep my 24 to 200 because I have the 24 to 120 f4, and it's just a little bit better overall. And I usually have enough of what I need with 120 millimeter as my long end. But it is nice to have that extra reach from 120 out to 200 if you can do it, if you're okay with it, using a lens like that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the camera I'm taking on my Colorado trip. And I think that's it for now. There's really not a whole lot going on. Well, there is a lot going on. But as far as this 18 to 140, I don't know. I think if you really need it, if you need something like this for a Nikon body, because this is image stabilized also. You know, VR that Nikon calls it, does have image stabilization built into the lens, because none of the APS-C bodies so far don't have image stabilization. I wish they would really do that. I would have rather the Z50 Mark II been a little bit wider or thicker and put image stabilization in it. That would have been killer. So that's really the only two things, by the way, I'm rambling on. The Z50 Mark II, if they would make another, whatever the next new version is, or even if they make a more professional version of this, make it with image stabilization, IBIS, in the body, and make the get a new sensor. Like, I like that 40 megapixel sensor from the Fuji X-H2, for example. That was a really nice sensor to me. I really love the photos from that X-H2. But anyway, I think I've said enough, and I'm really sweaty now, so I need to get back in and turn this off. Hope everybody's having a good day.